So we will do a tour from about 30 minutes. It's 4 to 5 kilometers on the inner canals of Bruges. So just sit back and relax and enjoy the beautiful view. It's very quiet right now on the water, so that makes it even a better experience. For your safety, it is better to always keep your hands and arms inside of the boat, just for safety. This here is the Bonifacius Bridge that we're going under right now. That's the smallest bridge from Bruges, this one. They also call it the Lover's Bridge, because a lot of people that are gonna marry, or couples, they just love to take pictures on it. It's quite a young bridge too. It's made in 1911. So this here is the old St. John's on the right. This here is also the oldest part. It's founded in the 12th century. And the hospital served and functioned as a hospital until 1976. So actually not that long ago. It's in fact one of the best preserved medieval hospitals from Europe. So nowadays a beautiful museum, really worth a visit. You can see how people got treated and mistreated during the Middle Ages. And there's also a good, beautiful old pharmacy inside from the 17th century. Also the Hans Memling Museum is inside. He was a famous painter of the Flemish primitives, Hans Memling. So that's the low bridge that I was talking about, right in front of us. So because we're not a full boat, that's why I need some weight here at the front. But normally it will be okay right now. So thank you. And so mind your heads, and especially your cameras too, and your phones. Here we go. The bridge gradually gets lower and lower. And the water here is a bit of a graveyard too, of phones, so be careful. Okay, good. Thank you. In a few minutes we also return, so please stay where you are now. After that, if you want to go more to the back, it's not a problem. And here is the entrance over the bridge to the right, to the Béguinage. So the Béguinage is a kind of convent founded in the 13th century. Really beautiful to visit. So go there if you can. Also a beautiful garden, and still has a very authentic feel of how life used to be many centuries ago. And nowadays there are Benedictine sisters living here, and single women live here now in the Béguinage. And in front of us here is the old lock house, with still the original lock gates from the 15th century. So these rule the water level in Bruges. So we don't get flooded, of course, after heavy rainfall. And behind the lock house is the Lake of Love. The water is also 1 meter higher on the other side. The Lake of Love also used to be a landing stage for boats traveling to Ghent. So now we're going to the north of Bruges. And we also have a lot of swans in Bruges, so over 100 swans living in the center of Bruges. So a colony lives here. They're all very lazy too. They don't fly much anymore because they get so much. We're smelling the brewery, just for a moment. And here in front of us, that's the oldest church from Bruges, the St. Saviour's Church, here on the left. The foundations are even from the 10th century, from that church. Parts here, that used to be the plague houses, the plague. Terrible disease in the Middle Ages. So the bodies they brought here. It's very easy from there to bring them on the boats. 18th century. century, 16th and 15th century with the stalactites. Of the Belfry, but it got crushed by lightning several times, and the last time in the 18th century, and after that they did not rebuild it anymore. And this here was the old Palace of Justice, 16th century, with the 4 pigeon towers. So the pigeons used to be the flying fax machines for Bruges, to say it like that. The carrier pigeons. So nowadays they're still a part of the administration of. This one is from the 14th century, so 600 years old, the May Bridge. Very strong bridge because there has not been much restoration yet. We have 43 bridges in Bruges. That's also a beautiful one. The Horse Bridge, 17th century. If you heard about God's houses or almshouses, well, we have many in Bruges, over 40, and most of them are made in the 16th and the 17th century by the rich guilds for Bruges, rich families, for the poor people and the widows. It was also a way to reduce criminality. And nowadays all these God's houses are still in use as social houses for the retired and the elderly people from Bruges. So most of those God's houses are white or yellow, like for example those yellow houses here on the right are also God's houses, with the date and the name on from the person that made them. St. Anna, or St. Anne's, they say in English. And we also call this here the Lost Corner of Bruges, the Lost Corner. So if you have the time, it's really worth coming here to wander around. It's really quiet here, and it's a bit of a labyrinth also, from all winding and narrow streets. So here you don't have the typical touristic shops like over there. 90% of the houses here are also private houses. So here you also find some museums. There's a lace museum. There's also a museum of old trades, and just also some really nice. This here is a beautiful spot here. This used to be the salt port in the Middle Ages, so salt used to be very valuable. And here we will also have an astonishing view on the Belfry. So I'm also gonna stop here for just a moment. Beautiful spot, beautiful postcard and photograph moment. Here we go.